Hello everyone, welcome back to Mr. English Talks. I'm thrilled you're here today because we're going to unlock something incredibly powerful together. Today, I'll show you how to learn English with real-life conversations. The kind of English people actually speak on the streets, in cafes, at work, and with friends. You know that feeling when you study English for years? Know all the grammar rules, pass all the tests, but then you meet a native speaker and you can't understand anything they say? Or when you finally speak, they look confused. Today, that changes. By the end of this video, you'll understand why real English sounds so different from textbook English. And more importantly, you'll have practical tools to master real conversations starting right now. So grab your notebook, open your mind, and let's dive into the real world of English together. Let me start with a story that might sound familiar. A few years ago, I met a student named Carlos. He had studied English for 8 years. He could read newspapers, write emails, and ace grammar tests. His teacher always gave him top marks. Then he traveled to New York for the first time. On his first day, he went to buy coffee. The barista said something that sounded like, "Want anything else?" Carlos froze. He knew every word separately. Want, anything else. But together, at that speed, it was just noise. He asked her to repeat. She said it again, faster, louder, but not clearer. Finally, she pointed at the food display. Carlos just shook his head and left with his coffee, feeling defeated. 8 years of study, and he couldn't handle a simple coffee shop conversation. Here's the truth nobody tells you in traditional classes. Real-life English is not the English in your textbook. Textbooks teach you, "How are you doing today?" But real people say, "How's it going?" Or just, "What's up?" Textbooks teach you, "I am going to study." Real people say, "I'm gonna study," or even, "gonna study." Textbooks teach you one speaker at a time, speaking slowly and clearly. Real life gives you multiple people talking over each other, with background noise, accents, slang, and emotions. It's like training for a calm lake and then jumping into ocean waves. But here's the good news. Once you understand how real conversations work and practice the right way, everything clicks. Real English has patterns. Real conversations follow predictable structures. And I'm going to teach you these patterns today, with actual examples you can use immediately. We'll practice together right here in this video so you can feel the difference in your mouth and ears. First, let's understand what makes real conversations different. Number 1 is connected speech. In textbooks, each word stands alone. In real life, words flow together like water. "What are you doing?" becomes "what you doing." "Did you eat yet?" becomes "jeet yet?" This isn't lazy English. This is natural English. Every language does this. Think about how you speak your native language casually. You probably connect words too. Number 2 is filler words. Real people don't speak in perfect sentences. They say, actually, basically, literally, all the time. These words don't add meaning, but they're everywhere in natural speech. When you learn to filter them out, understanding becomes much easier. When you learn to use them yourself, you sound more natural. Number 3 is incomplete sentences. Textbooks teach complete thoughts. Real people speak in fragments. Coffee means, "Do you want coffee?" Tomorrow means, "Let's do it tomorrow." Can't means, "I can't do that." Context fills in the missing pieces. This is why real conversations can feel confusing. Half the words are missing, but native speakers don't notice because their brains automatically fill the gaps. Number 4 is cultural references and idioms. Real people don't say, "I'm very tired." They say, "I'm beat," or "I'm wiped out," or "I'm running on empty." They don't say, "That's expensive." They say, "That costs an arm and a leg," or "That's highway." Robbery. Every culture has thousands of these expressions. Textbooks can't teach them all, but real conversations are full of them. Now let me share the secret to mastering real conversations. Stop studying English and start observing English. Become a conversation detective. When you watch movies, don't just enjoy the story. Notice how people really talk. When you're in public spaces where English is spoken, listen carefully. What do people actually say when they meet? How do they disagree politely? How do they end conversations? Real learning happens through observation and imitation, not memorization. Let's practice with a real conversation right now. I'll show you a typical interaction between two friends meeting for lunch. First, I'll say it how a textbook would teach it. Then I'll say it how people really talk. Notice the difference. Textbook version. Hello, Sarah. How are you doing today? I am doing well, thank you. How are you? I am also well. Would you like to have lunch together? Yes, I would like that. Where shall we go? Perhaps we could try the new Italian restaurant. That sounds agreeable. Shall we leave now? Real version. Hey, Sarah. How's it going? Oh, pretty good. You? Not bad. Want to grab lunch? Sure, I'm starving. Where? How about that new Italian place? Sounds good. Let's go. Did you hear the difference? The real version is shorter, faster, and more connected. How are you doing today became, how's it going? I am doing well became, pretty good. Would you like to became wanna? This is the English people actually speak every day. Now let's break down the most common real life conversation patterns you need to know. Pattern 1 is the greeting formula. In real life, greetings are quick and often answered with the same question. Hey, how's it going? Good, you? Not bad. That's it. Nobody expects a real answer about how you're actually doing. It's just a social ritual to acknowledge each other. Americans especially do this. They might ask, how are you? While walking past, not even waiting for an answer. Don't be offended. It's just their way of being friendly. Pattern 2 is the suggestion formula. Real people rarely say, would you like to? Instead, they say, wanna? How about, why don't we could, let's? These are softer, friendlier ways to suggest something. Practice these. Want to get coffee? How about Mexican food? Why don't we meet at 7? We could see a movie. Let's take a break. Pattern 3 is the disagreement formula. In textbooks, people disagree directly. In real life, especially in English-speaking cultures, disagreement is often indirect. Instead of no, you're wrong, people say, I see what you mean, but that's interesting, though I think, maybe, but what about, I'm not sure about that because this soft disagreement is crucial for maintaining good relationships. Pattern 4 is the leaving formula. Conversations need to end, but ending abruptly is rude. English speakers use signals to show a conversation is ending. Well, anyway, so, followed by, I should get going, or I better run, or I gotta go. Then they often add a future reference. See you later. Talk to you soon. Let's catch up again. This formula makes leaving feel smooth, not sudden. Let me demonstrate these patterns in a real situation. Imagine you're at work and a colleague wants to discuss a project, but you disagree with their idea and need to leave for a meeting. Here's how it really sounds. Hey, got a minute? I was thinking we should completely redesign the website. Oh, that's interesting. I see where you're coming from, but I'm not sure we have the budget for that right now. Really? I think it's worth it. Maybe. Actually, you know what? Why don't we discuss this at tomorrow's team meeting? I've got to run to another meeting right now. Oh, okay, sure. Great, let's definitely talk more tomorrow. See ya? Notice all the patterns? Soft disagreement with, I see where you're coming from, but suggestion with, why don't we? Leaving formula with actually, and I've gotta run. Future reference with, let's talk tomorrow. This is how real English flows. Now let's talk about the most important skill for real conversations, active listening. In textbooks, you have time to process every word. In real life, speech is fast and messy. You can't catch everything, and that's okay. The secret is to listen for key information, not every word. Listen for who, what, when, where, why. If you catch these, you understand enough to continue the conversation. Here's a practice exercise. I'll say a messy, fast, real-life sentence. Your job is to catch just the key information. Ready? So, I was thinking maybe we could, meet up at that new coffee place downtown, the one near the bank. Maybe around, 3-ish tomorrow? What's the key information? Meet, coffee place downtown near the bank around 3 tomorrow. All those fillers and hesitations. They don't matter. Train your brain to filter them out. Let's practice another one. Yeah, so basically what happened was my car broke down on the highway. Can you believe it? Right in the middle of rush hour. I had to wait 2 hours for the tow truck. It was literally the worst timing ever. Key information: car broke down, highway, rush hour, waited 2 hours. The rest is just emotion and emphasis. This filtering skill is crucial because real conversations are full of what I call conversation decoration. These are words and phrases that native speakers add automatically but don't change the meaning. You know what I mean? Right? Know what I'm saying? You feel me? Make sense? These are just checking if you're listening. A simple yeah or uh-huh is all you need to respond. Now let's dive into specific real-life situations and the actual phrases people use. Let's start with shopping. Textbooks teach, may I help you? But real salespeople say, finding everything okay? Or just need any help? Or even just, hey there! Your response doesn't need to be fancy. Just looking or I'm good thanks works perfectly. When you're ready to buy, don't say, I would like to purchase this item. Say, I'll take this, or ring this up. Please, or just put it on the counter and smile. At restaurants, forget I would like to order. Real people say, I'll have, or can I get, or just point and say, this one, please. When the server asks, how's everything? They're not expecting a detailed review. Great, thanks, or really good is perfect. If something's wrong, say, actually, could I, followed by your request. Actually, could I get this without onions? Simple and polite. Phone conversations have their own patterns. Real people don't say, hello, this is John Smith speaking. How may I assist you today? They say, hello? Hey, it's John. What's up? For business calls, it's slightly more formal. Hi, this is John or John speaking. To end a call, people rarely say goodbye. They say, all right, talk to you later, or okay, bye, or see ya, or just later. Work conversations are especially important to master. Here are real phrases used every day in offices. Instead of I have completed the task, say I'm done with that, or that's finished. Instead of I do not understand, say I'm not following, or can you clarify? Or I'm a bit lost. Instead of I made an error, say I messed up, or my bad, or I made a mistake there. These phrases sound more natural and actually build better relationships because they're more human. Let me teach you about small talk. The casual conversations that happen everywhere. Small talk isn't about information. It's about connection. Common topics are weather, weekend plans, sports, TV shows, or something happening right now. Crazy weather, huh? Thank God it's Friday. Did you see the game last night? This line is taking forever. The response doesn't need to be deep. I know, right? Tell me about it. Yeah, totally all work. Small talk is like a dance. You're not trying to get anywhere specific. You're just moving together for a moment. Here's a real small talk conversation at an elevator. Morning. Hey, morning. Glad it's Friday? Oh yeah, definitely. Long week. Tell me about it. Any weekend plans? Nothing crazy. Maybe catch a movie, you? Same, just relaxing. Sounds good. Have a good one. You too! Notice how light it is? No deep thoughts, just friendly acknowledgement that we're both humans sharing a moment. Now let's address the elephant in the room, understanding fast English. Native speakers talk fast because they're not thinking about individual words. They're thinking in chunks. What do you want to do? Is not 5 words to them. It's one chunk meaning, what do you want to do? The solution isn't asking everyone to slow down. It's training your brain to recognize these chunks. Here are the most common chunks you'll hear every day. Practice saying them fast until they feel like one unit. Gonna, going to, wanna's want to, gotta-de got to, lemme a gimme a give me, kinda, kind of, sorta, sort of, dunno, don't know. Come on, you know. When you can say these naturally, you'll hear them clearly. Let's practice with a paragraph full of these reductions. I'll say it slowly first, then at natural speed. I'm gonna meet my friends later. Wanna come? We're kinda thinking about seeing a movie or sorta just hanging out. I don't know exactly what time, but let me check and I'll text you. It'll be fun, come on. Now let me teach you the magic phrases that keep conversations flowing when you're lost. Every language learner needs these survival phrases. Sorry, what was that? Can you say that again? I didn't catch that. What do you mean by, so you're saying? Let me make sure I understand. These phrases show you're engaged and trying. People respect that and will help you. Here's a powerful technique, the echo question. When you don't understand something, repeat the part you did understand with a questioning tone. If someone says we're meeting at the gastropub on 5th and you don't know what a gastropub is, say gastropub. They'll explain, yeah, like a bar with fancy food. This technique gets you information without admitting you're completely lost. Let's talk about humor in real conversations. English speakers use humor constantly, even in serious situations. They make jokes about the weather, their mistakes, awkward situations, everything. You don't need to be funny, but recognizing humor helps. Common signals that something is a joke. Exaggeration. I've told you 1,000,000 times. Sarcasm. Saying the opposite of what they mean. Self-deprecating comments, making fun of themselves. When you're not sure if something's a joke, look for smiles or listen for tone changes. A safe response to humor you don't understand is just to smile or give a small laugh. Real conversations also involve a lot of interrupting, but there's a polite way to do it. Use phrases like, sorry, can I jump in? Quick question. Oh, that reminds me. Speaking of that, before I forget. These phrases let you enter a conversation without seeming rude. In group conversations, sometimes you need to be assertive to speak. That's normal in English-speaking cultures. Now let's practice a complete real conversation with all these elements. I'll be both speakers showing you a typical chat between co-workers at lunch. Hey, what you up to? Oh, just grabbing a quick bite. You? Same. This morning's meeting was brutal, huh? Oh my God, tell me about it. I thought it would never end. I know, right? And did you catch what Dave said about the budget? No, I kinda zoned out. What did he say? Basically, we're gonna have to cut costs. Again. Seriously? Oh, that's just great. Yeah, anyway, I better get back. Tons to do? Yeah, me too. See you later. Later. This conversation has everything. Reductions, whatcha gonna, fillers, just emotional reactions, oh my God, topic changes, anyway, and natural endings. This is how English really sounds in offices around the world. Let me teach you about register, which means choosing the right level of formality. With friends, hey, what's up? With your boss, good morning, how are you? With strangers, excuse me. The same message changes depending on who you're talking to. Want to hang out? Becomes, would you like to get together? Becomes, I'd like to schedule a meeting. Learning register is as important as learning vocabulary. Here's how the same request sounds at different registers. Asking a friend, hey, can you help me move this? Asking a colleague, would you mind giving me a hand with this? Asking your boss, when you have a moment, could I get your help with something? Same basic message, different packaging. Real conversations require this flexibility. Let's talk about cultural differences in real conversations. Americans tend to be direct but positive. They say great job, even for average work. British people are more indirect. Quite good from a British person might mean excellent. Australians are very casual and use lots of slang. Canadians are polite and often say sorry even when it's not their fault. Understanding these cultural styles helps you interpret real conversations correctly. Now I want to share the 3 layers of listening technique. Layer 1. What are they literally saying? Layer 2. What do they really mean? Layer 3. What response do they expect? For example, do you have a minute? Literally asks about time really means, I need to talk to you, and expects, sure, what's up? Training yourself to hear all 3 layers makes real conversations much easier. Let's practice identifying these layers. Statement. I'm thinking we might need to reconsider this approach. Layer 1. Considering a change. Layer 2. This isn't working. Layer 3. Expecting you to agree or offer solutions. Another example. That's an interesting idea. Layer 1. Your idea has caught attention. Layer 2. I'm not convinced. Layer 3. Expecting you to explain more or move on. Real conversations are full of this indirect communication. Here's something crucial about making mistakes in real conversations. Native speakers make mistakes constantly. They say me and John instead of John and I. They mix up less and fewer. They start sentences and restart them. They forget words mid-sentence. The difference? They keep going. They don't apologize for every error. They communicate first, perfect never. Adopt this mindset and your real conversations will transform. Let me share common conversation repairs that native speakers use. When they lose their train of thought, where was I? What was I saying? Oh, I lost my point. When they say something wrong, wait. No, I mean, actually scratch that. Let me rephrase. When they forget a word, what's it called? You know, the thing that, it's on the tip of my tongue. These phrases buy thinking time while keeping the conversation moving. Now let's talk about virtual conversations, which have become huge. Video calls have their own patterns. People say, can you hear me? You're breaking up. Sorry, you go first. No, you go. Constantly. There's always awkwardness about who talks when. The secret? Speak slightly slower and clearer than in person. Use more hand gestures. Say people's names before addressing them in group calls. John, what do you think? This prevents everyone talking at once. Real email conversations are different from formal writing too. People write hey, not dear. They use fragments. Sounds good. Will do. Thanks. They use casual language. Shoot me an email. Loop me in. Give me a heads up. They end with best. Cheers. Thanks. Not sincerely yours. Modern work emails sound like text messages, not letters. Let me teach you the conversation energy concept. Real conversations have energy that goes up and down. High energy. Oh my God, guess what happened? Low energy. Yeah, it's been a long day. Matching the other person's energy level helps conversations feel natural. If they're excited, show some excitement. If they're calm, be calm. This energy matching happens automatically in your native language. Practice doing it consciously in English. Here's a game-changing tip about questions in real conversations. English speakers often make statements sound like questions by raising their pitch at the end. So I went to the store, and there was this huge line, and I waited for like an hour. They're not asking. They're checking if you're following the story. Just nod or say uh-huh to show you're listening. This rising intonation is especially common in American English. Let's practice recognizing real conversation endings. English speakers rarely say, I must leave now, goodbye. They give signals, checking their phone or watch, saying well, or so, or anyway, mentioning what they need to do next, physically moving toward the door. Recognizing these signals helps you end conversations smoothly, too. Don't wait for explicit goodbye. Watch for the signals. Now I want to address the fear factor. Many learners understand real English but freeze when it's their turn to speak. Here's the secret. Native speakers are usually patient and helpful. If you say, sorry, I'm still learning English, they often slow down and use simpler words. They want to communicate with you. They're not judging your grammar. They're listening to your ideas. Most communication problems come from fear, not lack of knowledge. Let's do a confidence-building exercise. Repeat these real conversation starters until they feel natural. Hey, how's your day going? What have you been up to? Long time no see. How was your weekend? Ready for the weekend? Some weather we're having. These work in almost any casual situation. Having automatic starters removes the panic of not knowing what to say. Real conversations often involve giving opinions. English speakers soften opinions with phrases like, I think, I feel like, in my opinion, the way I see it. If you ask me, I'd say. They also use, maybe I'm wrong, but, or I could be mistaken, but. This softening makes disagreement less confrontational. Practice adding these to your opinions. Here's how to handle not understanding in group conversations. You don't need to understand everything. Focus on the general topic and mood. Laugh when others laugh. Nod occasionally. Ask one clarifying question if needed. Wait, are we talking about the project deadline? This shows engagement without revealing you missed half the conversation. Remember, even native speakers zone out in meetings. Let me teach you power listening positions. In real conversations, your body language affects your understanding. Face the speaker. Lean in slightly. Make eye contact. Nod occasionally. Say or right to show you're following. This active positioning actually helps your brain process the English better. It also encourages the speaker to continue, giving you more context to understand. Now let's talk about real conversation topics that come up constantly. Weekend plans. Any plans for the weekend? What are you up to this weekend? Weather. Can you believe this weather? Supposed to rain all week. Traffic. Traffic was insane today. Took me an hour to get here. Food. Where should we eat? I'm starving. That looks good. These topics are conversation lubricant. Master talking about them and you'll never lack things to say. Here are real responses that work for many situations. That's crazy. No way. Seriously? You're kidding. I know, right? Tell me about it. For real? That's wild. I hear you. These reactions show you're engaged and understanding. They buy you time to process what was said. They keep conversations flowing even when you're not sure what to add. Let's practice a challenging but common situation, joining a conversation already in progress. Listen for a pause, then use bridges like, "Sorry to interrupt, but that reminds me of, speaking of that, I couldn't help but overhear." Then add your comment and see if the group includes you. If not, no problem. Try again later. Real social situations are fluid like this. I want to share the 2-second rule for real conversations. When someone finishes speaking, wait 2 seconds before responding. This tiny pause serves multiple purposes. It ensures they're really finished. It gives your brain time to process in English. It makes you appear thoughtful. It reduces the chance of misunderstanding. Native speakers who are good communicators use this pause naturally. Let's talk about real conversation recovery. Sometimes conversations go wrong. You misunderstand. They misunderstand. Things get awkward. Here's how to recover. Sorry, let's back up. I think we miscommunicated. Wait, I think I explained that badly. Let me try again. I think we're saying the same thing differently. These phrases reset the conversation without blame. Everyone moves forward. Now for the golden rules of learning from real conversations. Rule 1. Record yourself having conversations, with permission. Listen later and notice your patterns. Rule 2. Watch the same TV show repeatedly. First time for story, second for language patterns, third for practicing along. Rule 3. Shadow native speakers in real time. Repeat what they say a half second behind them. Rule 4. Have the same conversation with different people. Notice how it changes. Rule 5. Focus on communication success, not perfection. Here's a weekly practice plan for mastering real conversations. Monday. Watch a TV show scene with subtitles, then without. Tuesday. Practice one real conversation pattern in every interaction. Wednesday. Record yourself describing your day naturally. Thursday. Listen to a podcast and write down just the filler words and reductions. Friday. Have a 5-minute English conversation with someone. Weekend. Relax and absorb English without studying. Just notice patterns. Let me address the technology helper approach. Use your phone's voice recognition in English. If it understands your natural speech, humans will too. Use apps where you can have real conversations with AI or real people. Watch YouTube videos at different speeds to train your ear. Use voice messages instead of text to practice speaking naturally. Technology can simulate real conversation practice safely. Real conversations often include pop culture references. Someone might say, "It's like that Friends episode where," or "This is some Game of Thrones stuff," or "I feel like I'm in the office." You don't need to know every reference. Just say, "I haven't seen that," or "What happens in that episode?" People love explaining their references. It actually creates more conversation. Here's the truth about fluency in real conversations. Fluency isn't about speaking fast or knowing every word. It's about keeping communication flowing. Pausing is fluent. Rephrasing is fluent. Asking for clarification is fluent. Using simple words effectively is fluent. The goal is successful communication, not impressive vocabulary. Many native speakers have limited vocabulary but excellent fluency. Let me share the conversation mirror technique. After any real conversation, replay it in your mind. What went well? What was difficult? What phrases did they use that you want to remember? What would you say differently next time? This mental review locks in learning. Do it immediately after conversations while the memory is fresh. It's like free practice. Real conversations include a lot of agreeing and disagreeing. Here's how it really sounds. Strong agreement. Absolutely. Totally. 100%. Exactly. Mild agreement. Yeah, I guess so. I suppose. Fair enough. Mild disagreement. I'm not so sure. I see it differently. Yes and no. Strong disagreement. No way. I completely disagree. That's not how I see it. Practice these with the right tone. Now let's talk about conversation timing. Real conversations have rhythm. Fast exchanges for excitement, slow for serious topics, pauses for thinking. English speakers unconsciously match this rhythm. When you learn to feel it, conversations become easier. It's like learning to dance. First you count steps, then you feel the music. Same with conversation rhythm. Here's a crucial skill, reading between the lines. We should get coffee sometime. Might just be polite, not a real invitation. Let me think about it often means no. That's interesting might mean, that's weird. I'll try often means I won't. Context and tone reveal true meaning. This isn't dishonesty. It's politeness. Every culture has these hidden meanings. Let me demonstrate a complete real conversation with translations of what's really being said. Surface conversation. Hey, we should definitely hang out soon. Translation, I'm being polite but not committing. Yeah, for sure. Let me check my schedule and get back to you. Translation, I'm also being polite and non-committal. Sounds good. Text me. Translation, this probably won't happen, but we're both okay with that. This social dance maintains friendships without pressure. Real conversations often jump topics rapidly. You're talking about work, then suddenly about someone's dog, then about weekend plans, then back to work. This is normal. Don't try to force logical flow. Follow the jumps. Use phrases like, oh, that reminds me. Speaking of, by the way, random question, totally different topic. These transitions make topic jumps smooth. Here's advanced knowledge about question tags. English speakers add little questions at the end of statements. It's nice today, isn't it? You're coming, aren't you? We met before, didn't we? These seek agreement or confirmation. The response is usually just agreeing. Yeah, it is. Yep, I am. Yes, we did. Understanding question tags helps you catch the real question in conversations. Let's practice emergency conversation fixes. When you're completely lost. Sorry, I spaced out for a second. What were we talking about? When you said something wrong, wait, that came out wrong. What I meant was, when there's awkward silence. So, anyway, followed by any topic change. When you need to leave an uncomfortable conversation, oh, I just remembered I need to. These fixes save difficult moments. Real conversation mastery comes from what I call the 3 Ps. Practice, patience, and persistence. Practice daily, even for 5 minutes. Be patient with yourself. Everyone struggles at first. Persist through awkward conversations. They teach you the most. Every real conversation is a teacher. Every mistake is a lesson. Every success builds confidence. Here's my challenge to you. This week, have 1 real English conversation every day. Start small. Order coffee in English. Comment on the weather. Ask for directions even if you know the way. Each conversation is practice. Track them in a notebook. Write 1 thing you learned from each. By week's end, you'll have 7 real experiences and 7 lessons. The transformation from textbook English to real English isn't instant. It's a journey. But every step counts. Every real conversation moves you forward. Stop waiting for perfect conditions. Stop memorizing more grammar rules. Start having real conversations today, messy and imperfect as they might be. That's how every fluent speaker learned. That's how you'll learn too. Remember Carlos from the beginning? He took my advice to focus on real conversations. He started small, ordering coffee every morning, making small talk with the barista. He watched American TV shows actively, noting real phrases. He joined a conversation group and practiced being confused without panic. 6 months later, he returned to New York. Same coffee shop, same barista. "The usual?" she asked. "Yeah, and throw in one of those muffins," he replied. They chatted about the weather, the busy morning, weekend plans. Real conversation. Natural flow. Success. Your journey starts now. Real English is waiting for you in every conversation. It's in the coffee shop, the office, the street, online. It's messier than textbook English, but infinitely more useful. Embrace the mess. Enjoy the journey. Trust the process. Your future self will thank you for starting today. Thank you for spending this time with me. You now have tools to learn from every real conversation. Put them into practice. Share your experiences in the comments. Tell me about your first real conversation this week. I read every comment and love seeing your progress. You've got this. Real English is yours to master. And remember, if you like this video, don't forget to subscribe to this channel.